everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation, and my guest today is Tamsin Bradshaw. She is a transformation coach and multi-passionate and high EQ, which is emotional intelligent mother. I love that detail about your bio. I just love that emotional
Thank you.
intelligence. She combines transformational coaching with shamanic energy medicine to help anxious high achievers and highly sensitive people dish overwhelm and discover their worth and unlock their innate superpowers. This is my brief introduction to you, and I'm not so great at it, but the full bio will be at the end. The question that I love asking everybody, Tenzin, it never left me really, is how would you introduce yourself? Who are you in your own words in this very moment?
In this very moment. Thank you for that. Well, I'm a human. That's for sure. I'm an emotional being. I'm a deep feeler.
Yes.
I work in transformational coaching. I work with highly sensitive humans and, as you've said, and highly emotional, intelligent people, people with hyper empathy and anxious achievers
Yeah.
in particular. But really, those are the things that I specialize in.
Right.
But I work with humans who feel at the heart of it, really to make change and to support them in creating the best lives possible, to navigate change like a spiritual ninja.
Right. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I love
Thank
that.
you.
The spiritual warrior, that concept, this
Yes.
idea, it's just beautiful. Gosh, I have a lot of questions for you. I guess the first one that I usually begin with is the story behind the person. Like, how did you come to uncover this gift of helping others who are sensitive? I read, of course, that you are a highly sensitive person too. So how did you discover that in yourself first?
I think for years I was told I was too sensitive, that I was too emotional. That was what my family always said, and caregivers and teachers.
Right.
And, there wasn't this understanding. I mean, we didn't really, Elaine Aron was the one who coined this word in the 90s. And so until then, there was no understanding of it. And I didn't come across it till
Right.
sometime in the 2000s. And so until then, I was just trying to change who I was all the time. I was trying to grow a thicker skin, be less emotional, dumb my emotions down, like just repress everything. And it was pretty miserable. So I was constantly overwhelmed and overstimulated. I didn't understand why I felt other people's feelings, and because I thought I was crazy, because I came from essentially a very muggle family, to use that word. And so there was not this understanding of energy and spirituality or an interest in it, very science, logic, intellectual.
Mm.
And so for me, it was a revelation when I finally started exploring this work and realizing, oh, I'm not crazy. I'm just really sensitive,
Right.
and I process things differently. So I think
Right.
that once I started understanding this for myself, I really felt like I had to help other people understand it, that it was just wrong, that people felt like there was something wrong with them, instead of realizing that what they were living with was a gift, not a
Mm.
burden.
Yes, gosh. And I can very much relate to it. And I know a lot of people watching this, listening to you now, yeah, they can relate to it too. One of the
Yes.
questions that it comes to mind is how do we know the difference between being highly sensitive in a way that's helpful for our human evolution, for our personal growth, even for our spiritual understanding of our sacredness in the world, and then emotions and feelings that's coming from trauma, for even they call them multi-generational trauma or collective trauma. So how do
Yes.
you know the difference, Tenson?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I don't think that we always do know the difference. And it really is just a matter of doing the work. And if we're feeling something, we have to accept. I mean, it's very easy to say, this isn't
Yeah,
mine, but
right,
that's not owning it. And so
right,
we really, I think we have to just process all emotion as
yeah,
if it is ours. And some of it will be coming from our ancestors. Some of it will be because there is this
mm,
that these things live in our cells for in our
yeah,
cellular memory for
right,
7 generations. And
right.
so it's not surprising that we probably feel things that don't belong to us, but we still
Yeah.
have to process it, and we're here to process it and to heal from it. So we have to treat it as if it's ours. That's
Mm,
how I see it. I can't really make the distinction any further than that.
yes. Okay, so that's very helpful too, especially for me, because I try, gosh, I try not to believe that all those feelings are
Yes.
mine, but you're right. There's something about being aware and being kind to whatever feeling or emotion comes in. There's something about that. Like, for
Yes.
example, there's something about when somebody throws like trash from the cars and on the street.
Oh, it's awful.
Oh my
Yes.
God, this it's almost like an ancient type of a feeling comes up, and
Yes.
not of anger, but it's almost a feel of injustice. And it's something in
Yes.
me that really doesn't like that, and I don't know why I learned. I don't remember learning, being
Yeah.
educated that way. Oh, don't throw anything out of the. It's just very. It feels very ancient. So, would you
Yes.
say that? Yeah, I would love to hear from you, like a little bit about that. So we don't have to understand all feelings. We don't have to. We just have to embrace them, right? Anyway.
Yes, that's what I believe. We don't have to always know where they come from because we don't always know where they come from.
Mm,
And sometimes, yes, they can be cosmic. Right now, I feel like there's a huge intensity of feeling, which I know you're feeling too, and
yes.
it
Yeah.
is collective, and we're
Yeah.
feeling it, and we still have to process it because it's
Mm,
living within us. But
mm,
this, what you're saying about the trash, people throwing trash from cars, I feel it too. And I think
yeah.
it's like this ancient pain that because
Mm,
we care, because you care about the earth, you care about its
yeah.
well-being,
Yeah.
and that is really our soul. That feels like a soul piece to me that just
Mm,
genuinely cares.
yeah.
So thank you
Yeah.
for caring.
Yeah. Thank you, you too, for caring and for saying that, because yes, for confirming that the truth behind the feeling. Because I got that, the mind tries to explain everything, and I try kind of not to be in between, not to listen to every single
Yes.
thing the mind says. But yes, it feels right, and it feels like it's almost like a protection of what is sacred. And
Yes.
when I think about the earth, I think about our bodies too, how we have forgotten that we are sacred beings, and we have been,
Yes.
in a way, trashing, if I can use that word, our own bodies and then our minds. And then that's the environment is just a reflection of the way we have been treating ourselves, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And we've been treating ourselves, you're right, we've forgotten that our bodies are temples. I know that in my own journey, I treated my body so badly.
Yeah.
I partied pretty hard for a good 10,
Yeah.
15 years. I didn't eat well. I did all the wrong things. And I think this is a collective, we've lost that innate understanding of the body wisdom and that
Yeah.
connection to the fact that the body can heal itself.
Yes, Tansen. Yeah, which is another idea that I came across recently. Somebody said, you don't have to worry about, as an individual, you don't have to worry about the earth so much because it knows what it
Yeah.
does. It's extremely wise and highly intelligent. It knows exactly how to heal itself, rebalance itself. So this is not something that we need to try too hard, to protect and take care of. Although I
I
still
love
feel
that.
like it's a combination, right, of the two.
Yes. But I love that idea that actually the earth does know how to care for itself. It's true.
Yes.
That's
Yeah. It's all the
beautiful.
body, right, Tenzin? The body does. I mean, it's
Yes.
amazing how it heals itself. Like as
It's
soon
a
as we get cut,
yes.
it heals itself. It starts the process of healing. So
Yes.
yeah. Hmm. In a way, we
That's
have to trust
amazing.
that wisdom, right? We have to kind of lean more into that,
I think you're
listen.
right. If we lean into that, that's so beautiful. Thank you for that. I absolutely agree with that, because if you do trust the wisdom of the body to heal itself, then it will probably heal itself from a lot of things that we're medicating. And actually, if we just let
Yes.
the body do its thing and
Yes.
listen to it,
Yeah.
rest, then it would actually resolve itself without us needing
Yes.
to medicate it, to
Right.
force healing.
Mm, that's exactly it. And that's so in a way it's very obvious, but we have forgotten that too, that natural wisdom that's within the body and it's out there in the environment. It might be that I mean the let's say the analogy that I can use is if we know that by eating certain things or doing some certain things, we are just kind of making the body unhealthy and it will probably lose its life force if we continue to do these things, then what would we do? And then what would be the logic thing to do? Which would be to take care of the body, stop doing what it's hurting it, and then kind of help it to help itself. And it feels like we are not really fully aware about about the harm that we have done to earth and we still are doing little by little
Yes.
by buying too much, by eating unorganic food. I mean, I always try, you see, those things are they seem very simple, but I think they make a huge difference though.
I
There's too
agree.
much of, I don't know even where to begin, Tenzin, when it comes to
Mm.
what we can do to help the earth rebalance itself. So I know it has its own wisdom and will heal itself eventually, but we cannot ignore or deny that we play a part in it.
Yes, absolutely. I think it is definitely time. And I think that's what this whole time is about taking responsibility for. I think that does begin with us. And
Right.
yes,
Right.
living in a way where we are eating well, where we are doing little things to help the planet in our own little ways. I know that my husband used to say, not anymore, thank goodness, but he used to say, oh, but one person's not going to make a difference. Like us
Mm,
doing this, us recycling, us
mm,
composting, us doing anything like
mm,
this isn't going to make a huge difference. But he's very much changed his tune. But I think a lot of people feel that. They feel this hopelessness, like, well, how can I make a difference? But the
right.
thing is, every single person,
Mm,
every little thing that we do, and we can't expect perfection of ourselves at this stage. But I think that if we can just shift little behaviors, then
right.
every little thing counts.
Mm,
And
mm.
and every little thing, whether that's like not using plastic, it's
Yes.
drinking from a reusable bottle, not buying, taking plastic bags, all of those things, that small things make all the difference and really just show that we do care and that we care for
Mm,
this planet.
yes, I love that. See, I love that um, the contemplation of this concept of care. I care. There's something about that is that brings this almost a spirit of sacredness, caring, like the earth cares for us, is always nurturing us with its food and a place to live and have this experience. So yeah, caring, gosh, Tenzin, you just got me going here.
I love
um
it.
yeah.
Let's talk about
So
caring. I think it's so
uh
important.
oh, I love that. And that goes back to the topic of our conversation. So beyond survival mode, the hidden superpowers of highly sensitive people. So talk to me for a moment about that. There's this shift from fear to love, really, and how can that impact everything and everyone?
Absolutely. Well, I lived in survival mode for so long, really, in this state of total overwhelm, always fear,
Yeah.
and constantly controlling all my behaviors of trying to be perfect, and feeling like everything that I was wrong. And that really was this survival mode. And I was getting ill. I had digestive issues. All kinds of things were happening as a result, the huge levels of stress and emotional explosions. And so this was me in survival mode and in that state of fear. And because I doubted the experiences, the energetic and spiritual experiences that I was having, and I doubted that I could feel energy, but I could feel it. And so it was this constant battle in my system and this constant fear. So it's really been a journey of returning to love. And it is an ongoing, lifelong journey, as I'm sure you know, of constantly returning to love and returning to ourselves, and realizing that all of this is a gift, and even that the journey and these learnings and all of the spiritual curriculum that has been put in front of me in Earth School is a gift also to all bring me back to love.
Yes, gosh, yeah. Thank you for saying that too. Yeah, God.
And I'd love to know about your journey as well, actually, especially as a sensitive person.
Right. And the funny thing is, what you said, it's so true. And I read this in your bio, I think in your web bio, under the story. You say that for years, you denied your sensitivity, believing that it was a bad thing. So again, a belief system that something is bad, but we needed to go back to, being what the feeling's trying to say. It always goes back to that. It's fascinating. And when it comes to living from the world of love, I interviewed somebody recently and I asked the question, because I always ask that question, who are you? How would you introduce yourself in your own words? And he said, someone who is trying to live from the world of love.
Oh, I love that.
I never heard that before, like exactly like that. And what it's like, from your perspective, of course, I have my own concepts, ideas, and practices, all that. And everybody has, some ideas of what love is and what they are doing to live from that world. But what is your own kind of experience from that world, and how do you teach, how do you pass that on to your clients as a practical thing
to live from the world of love? Well, I do say that we need to lean into the feeling, always to lean into the feeling, and even fear, not to lean into it exactly, but to look at it, to be willing to look at it, because I think it's very necessary in order to get to the love. So that's a part of it, is to be willing to look at the fear and to look at everything that's coming up. I really try to provide a really accepting space where everything that comes forward is absolutely okay, no matter whether people feel such shame about it, because I think it's these emotions such as shame and fear that keep us from seeing the love. And so if we can really just keep that space as accepting as possible, create that safe space for people to feel really okay to bring things forward, then I think then you can slowly come back to love. And I do use somatic work in this as well. I found somatic coaching processes incredibly powerful for really getting in touch with these parts that are the younger parts of us, the inner children that are afraid, that are still hanging on to these survival strategies because they're terrified of doing something wrong, and to connect with those pieces and then slowly to bring them back into the whole and come back to love.
Gosh, yes. That's there's so many different kinds of methods, right, Tamsin,
So many.
To work with the parts of us that feel separate or disconnected, and they are not. One of the things that always resonated with me, like powerfully, is this idea that we are already loved, that there's this cosmic, divine, sacred not even being, but underlying existence that already loves its own creation. I mean, to the core, in a sense of unconditionally. So, and sometimes I get to feel that, and sometimes I don't. So, I would love to hear from you. Like, um, how do we get to feel more of this unconditional love from divinity, from our own sacredness, as that's already whole?
Mm. That's a beautiful question. So that's just been a constant practice of mine. And I really feel that it comes down to loving ourselves. Once we learn to love ourselves, then we can feel, then we realize that we are loved. And of course, we can know this. We can logically know, okay, yes, the divine loves us, that we are this, whatever you see that as, this
Yeah.
universe loves us.
Yeah.
And I would say that for me as a parent, I've got an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and seeing how I can love them so unconditionally, then I realize it's possible that something else loves us, that loves its creation. But I do think that's self-love and self-worth. And I do think this is a journey that a lot of highly sensitive people go on, because we take on so much from our caregivers, and we're so desperate, we're looking for their love. We're so acutely aware of their responses.
Yeah.
And so I think it really is this journey of self-love. And for me, that is, however that everyone is different in how they get there, but it's constantly looking in the mirror and telling myself that I love me, to hands on heart, whatever that is for you, that way of reminding yourself that you love yourself. And then from there, I think that is a way of calming the nervous system as well, and just constantly coming back to that.
We are talking about self-love and how the way to divinity, to feel the power of the sacred love from the cosmos, from God, whatever higher reality we believe in, is to love ourselves. That really, really resonates with me. It has been, but now more than ever. And in a sense, that's very practical and courageous. So I'm more courageous these days, almost like giving me the support that I needed to kind of embody that sacredness, that the divinity that's already here, that's out there, that's everywhere. So it's almost like sacredness meeting sacredness. We can't really feel divine love if we don't know, we don't understand, we don't accept, or don't receive our own being as being sacred. So gosh, that is just a powerful topic that I mean, you just got me started. But talk to me about, for some people who listen, who are listening to this, and they are trying to understand this in a more practical way, even if they are coming from intellectual understanding. What are the signs? What are the ways that we can actually see and know that we are loving ourselves and in being loved by the universe?
That's a really good question. What are the ways that we can really know and see that we are being loved by the universe?
Yeah.
To me, it starts with these small synchronicities, these little day-to-day, the little signs, the little things. They are all the small ways that we can see that there is this magic and that we are loved. And when things work out beautifully for us, unexpectedly beautifully, I mean, even the smallest things, like you get a discount voucher for something, something's free, just little things like that. Or when you serendipitously see a friend or run into someone in an airport across the other side of the world, or on a train, or, these things that have happened to us, these connections. And it gives me tingles as I'm saying it. These little ways that to me feel like these beautiful little signs from the universe that we are loved, and that we're cared for, and that we're thought of. And I think just looking around us, looking at nature, being in nature and looking at it and seeing, and I find that as someone who is sensitive, I need that. I need that time
Yeah.
to be in nature, to just like decompress myself. But that looking around and looking at the incredible world that we live in, looking at the sky,
Mm,
those things to me, when you look at that and you see the wonder that we are actually surrounded with, that
yeah.
is evidence of that love.
Mm,
It just is. It's just how we live in the most incredible world.
gosh, Tencent. Yes. Yes, a billion times that truth. And it's already here. It's not something that's
Yes,
hidden. It's not something that we need to get to. It doesn't have to be
exactly.
big, millions of dollars or a perfect body or this or that.
Yes.
It's the simple things they're already here. Gosh, I mean, I love that, as it's almost like if we follow these signs, if we pay attention to them, is it's it shows clearly that the universe is loving us because we are loving ourselves too. It's almost like them, they go hand in hand. We cannot separate them. We cannot separate anything really. So
Love that.
I love that. I love the synchronicities, and they're fun to me. But one of the
Yes, me
ways
too.
that I know, I mean, in a powerful way too, it's nature, right? When I'm going through some challenges, whatever it is in the moment that's not easy, and then my awareness becomes very relaxed, and there's this felt appreciation, for a bird that just passed by, that just flew by. I mean, it's just incredible to see. And then joy kind of arises immediately, even if for a moment, and kind of is trying to, almost like it's trying to show me that I'm here, that I'm here. I'm always here. I never left you. I
Beautiful.
have, I came across Sufism. I mean, a long time ago. I study all kinds of spiritual teachings and understandings. And in Sufism, they say something beautiful. Everywhere you look, you see the face of God, and that's when you know that you became one with the sacred reality. I
Love
mean,
that.
that's just. I mean, that to me says it all. But of course, it's a journey again, right, Tenzin, to get there.
I love that though. That's really beautiful. And I agree. Everywhere you look, you see, and that is
Mhm.
really, as a
Yeah.
shamanic practitioner as well,
Uh,
this is what we learn, is that the divine is in all things,
right.
everywhere, and to
Right.
see it in every leaf, every flower, every butterfly, bee, every person as well. And I think a lot
Yes.
of traditions,
Yeah.
Sufism as well, I've also explored that in my
Yeah.
own in my on my own journey. And yes, beautiful.
Gosh, yeah. What's not to love about it, right? This is if there's a knowledge to be acquired, to be really understood with the mind, would be this one. To me, this is of course, not only it's not information, it's knowledge and wisdom to know that the essence of life runs through the veins of everything in existence. So it's not just here or there, or God is not in heaven. It's
Yes,
actually an embodied God. It's right here, goddesses, everything is it.
yes,
I mean, God, it seems like very big, right, Tenzin? Like you said about your husband before, like, gosh, how can I possibly understand with this mind, this rational mind? How can I possibly um, live this out? This truth that everything is the face of God, the face of the divine. Would you say that this is something that you help your clients with as well, this big picture of life, and how do we make it almost like very babyish in a way, baby
how
steps?
do
How
we
can we?
break it down?
Yes, the
Yes.
daily. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, sometimes with certain clients who want to be more on the spiritual journey, then we're exploring this in a more direct way. And with
Right.
others who are, so it depends on the client, really, client to client. If
Right.
some are
Right.
more interested in that, then we'll go deep. We'll go deep into this. And with others, it's
Yeah.
more a less esoteric
Right.
journey, I would say.
Yeah.
But
Right.
absolutely, how do we make this sacred
Mm.
piece I think it's just by treating them as if they are holding them
Mm.
with that reverence, this sacred quality
Mm.
that you're talking about, and
Ah,
treating every single person with love.
yeah.
I think it can
Mm.
be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't, if we just
Mm.
treat them with love, I treat them with the love that I would like to receive. That
Yes.
and that's really what I'm this year is more and more about for me, is just showing up with to every encounter, with every client, with every person, as with this heartfelt
Yeah. Yes.
soul, just bringing all of that, bringing all soul, bringing heart to it,
Mm.
and loving my clients that way. And in terms of them, it's, I think it's just that, is like looking at everything that comes, every challenge, every aspect of themselves, every part, with love and with acceptance of it.
Mm.
I feel like that's enough. That is enough to bring people back to that sense of their sacredness, and that God
Gosh.
is love.
Mm. Ah, I love your wisdom, your
Oh, thank
timeless
you.
wisdom. That's what I call it. And yeah, you very much embody that. Yeah, that
Thank
this
you.
longing as a since I met you by email and even today is it just that's what I feel. It's like all the
Hmm.
feelings like of love, of
Thank you.
acceptance, openness.
And you too,
So
though. I
yes,
get
thank
very
you.
good. It's a lovely, beautiful, beautiful, warm energy.
Ah, gosh. Yes, Tansen, that's exactly what we need more, right? It's to bring that this love into our day-to-day living as an experience that is felt here, so we can kind of in a way acknowledge that it's also there. Because
Yes.
it's kind of I don't think we can do that if we're coming from a separate kind of state of being. We gotta, if we are able to see, understand the truth and acknowledge that, then we'll be able to embody it too, meaning that we'll be able to see everything as divine, as
Yes.
sacred, and treat as such. I really feel from my own experience, and I came from. I mean, I come from this very. As most of us have, right? Separateness and fear and traumas and all that. But then there's something about life that always, it's always like nature, it's always looking to be in harmony with itself again, in its environment. It might be out of balance for a little while, but it's always seeking ways to go back, to return to balance. So I think that's what it means for us, returning to love, isn't it? That's really what the
Yes.
journey is all about.
I believe that, and I love that. That's been really a thread through our conversation, this sense of returning to
Right.
love.
Yeah.
And I've been on that journey too. It has been that real journey of constant of, and actually it puts it so much in perspective to see it that way, as say, oh, well, this was always the journey. And
Mm,
this is
yes.
actually, everything
Yes.
was pointing towards
Uh,
this. It was all part of it, all the challenges, all the
mm,
trauma.
yes, right, right, right. And I love what you say. There's so much. I made a lot of notes here, and and I can easily just get completely like let's say distracted by flowing, being in the moment. But I want to go back to some of the things that you have said that caught my attention. I made a note here. It's your web bio, yeah, on the story you say real healing and sustainable change happen when we feel truly heard, seen, and safe. It happens when others fully accept us and when we fully accept ourselves. So you're not talking about, you're not really using the word love, but healing is so much connected to it, isn't it? Being able to do the healing work, being open to heal intentionally, that, and the idea of acceptance. So are you talking about the same thing again? Healing,
Yes.
acceptance, love.
Love. Yeah, I believe so. For me, what really was so healing was meeting mentors who fully saw and accepted me and just made space for that. Just
Yeah.
made space for me to come forward with anything and to come forward with, stress and whining and whatever it was, just made that space. And then through that, I think it just creates this, it's so healing. And also having a partner who's done that for me, my husband has also been very accepting, really, and very loving, like loving no matter what. And that those things have been so healing, and created that space for me to love myself and then to love others.
God, yeah. So it's the ripple effect, right? It's like the waves in the ocean. It's
and that
all
is
connected.
yes, it really, really is. It is all connected. And so now I want to pay that forward too and offer that to others, because I think so many people haven't had that. We haven't had that love. I mean, people, parents, caregivers, love as much as they are able with the tools that they have.
Right.
And so if we can create that for others, that's so healing.
Yes, a billion times again. That's exactly what we need, right? And thank you, for being, for answering the call. Really, that's what it is, right? You answer a calling that it's in everybody's heart. I really believe. I think everyone has that calling, and I don't want to talk about reincarnations because I have some let's say some insights into past lives and all that. So we have enough evidence to know, right, that we have been here before.
Yes.
So a question that I have for you, gosh, I want to go back to here, but this is another question that came to mind. If this is a calling for everyone, it's in our hearts. Why do some people say no to it, choose not to go on this path of love and do quite the opposite?
Yeah. Why do some people? I think fear can get in the way. Maybe the trauma is just so big sometimes that it's really hard to overcome. Maybe that was always the journey for them anyway, was to have a lifetime of, I'm really leaning into this as well, this reincarnation piece and exploring it. So maybe the curriculum, I truly believe that this is Earth School, and we're here to learn, and we've got our curriculum for each lifetime. And so maybe that was simply the lesson, that it was to experience something other than love. And, maybe the soul chose it, maybe not. Sometimes I just think that trauma can be so big. It's easier. It's so hard to find the love in there, or the fear can be so big that we're choosing that, or we're still sleeping when we're supposed to be awake.
Oh, wow. Yes. It's almost like, I have contemplated this idea too, Tenzin, about, the choiceless choice. Some people, they're not even aware that they are choosing what they're choosing.
Yes.
And then
even that is a choice, isn't it? Yes. I like that. Choiceless choice. It's true.
Yeah. Yes. And then why I think we should, in a way, I love your wisdom and showing humility there, that we cannot understand everything, and we cannot change everything, and we cannot force anything to change, or anyone to change, and be more like us, or choose love. Because and that's very humbling, to know that we don't know everything, and there's mysteries here too that are not meant to be uncovered. Yes, but then it goes back to those, you and I, and so many of us on this journey of love, embracing that and kind of doing what we have to do at whatever level. I think that's very important, that we embrace the journey instead of trying to push away those who are not on the journey, or criticize them, or which is easy to do. It's sometimes. For me, has been trying to change, bring people to the path of love. That has been my biggest challenge. I know you made a business out of it, and you are doing, the business of love.
I love that.
So many beautiful people. Yeah. I mean, what's not to love about that? And this is I think that's the future, isn't it? The business of love. That's what we are here for.
Absolutely. I love it.
So I mean, and you have made that, you just answered that call, and like for people like me, it's still not my job. It's not something that I didn't. This is not something that I'm out there to do. For people to come to me and I just kind of guide them. This is something that I'm not doing, not as of now.
Would you want
But
to?
I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a beautiful question too. Something in me never chose that path, and I wonder why. It never did. Although I know there's a lot of wisdom here. There's something a lot, but there's something else that I think we all here meant to do something with the instrument that we have, with the skills that we have. It's very
Yeah.
unique too. So I don't think we can fit everybody in this, in trying to do the same thing. But we are doing the same thing in different ways, I have to say.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely. Well, I think you are spreading that through this medium, through
right,
books, through podcast.
right, right.
Mm.
So I just love, to meet so many people like you who are saying yes to the path of love, and that's what they're doing. They're just trying to help as many people as possible. So I was trying to say that, I guess I was trying to get to that it's a challenge for me, because I try to guide people around my family, and
Yes.
then and that just never works. It never does. It's
It's
been
really difficult. It's a tough one because you do see people and you think, and it can hurt sometimes to watch when you know that it could be so different. And
right,
one of my mentors always says this to me. She says, Tamsin, people, you have to just let people stop thinking what they should do. And I do have to remind myself, I think we all do, and we have to stay in our own lane. And if someone comes to us and chooses to come, then it's a different story. And if they choose it, so I'm really working on, if people come to me, then that's a different story. Then we can work together and it's still their choice and it's still their journey. And I can invite change and I can suggest and I can question and empower, but I'm not here to direct anyone else's journey. And I have to stay in my own lane and keep making the change in myself and hoping that by
mm,
doing that and maybe by speaking about it, but not in a way of, oh, you should do this, but
mm,
just my own behavior and putting those little hints there, the breadcrumbs that people
yeah.
can, yeah, because I have to remember sometimes that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can
Ah,
show someone the door, but they
right.
really have to be the one to step through it.
Yes. Gosh. Easy said than done when it comes to
Totally.
personal relationships, right? When you have a husband or a brother or mother, and then you see that they're suffering unnecessarily, and they're like, oh my God, what can I do here? And then you keep trying these different ways. It feels like divine manipulation. You keep
Yes.
trying, like, to guide them to drink the water, but yeah. But that's so true. We can only be that change ourselves. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
happened for me, what made a shift, and I think it's going to be an ongoing journey, but with
Yeah.
certain people in my life, what I noticed was that when I decided that I wasn't going to hold back my own journey, I was just going to keep moving on my own path. And if they chose to come along,
So we are talking about what helped you in some ways not to constantly trying to ease unnecessary suffering, which has been one of my biggest challenges.
yes. Because I think we could spend our whole lives doing that, couldn't we? Trying to see,
Yes.
looking at everything around us,
Yeah.
and really we just have to stay in our own lane. I think it's just that constant reminder to myself to stay in my own lane. And I
Yeah.
think to realize that
Uh-huh.
we all have that curriculum that we've chosen, we all have the
Mm.
challenges we've chosen, and actually if someone has chosen, I mean, example, the other day, a friend of mine was talking about seeing someone who was 18,
Yeah.
who was passionate about physiotherapy, choosing to go to business school, even though her real passion was physiotherapy. And she was so
Yeah.
devastated for this girl.
Yeah.
And it had stayed with her for weeks. But
Yeah.
really to remember saying to her exactly that, stay in your own lane,
Mm.
because if we I mean, we could carry that with us forever, and that's actually going to
Right.
I have to, as a coach, I really have to be conscious of that. And as a shamanic practitioner too, not to take on other people's stuff. They've chosen
Mm,
that. That's their
right.
journey. And there's going to be so much learning in that, in
Mm,
choosing a path. And maybe she'll go to business school and it will be the best thing ever. Maybe she will come back to being a physio. Whatever our journey is that we choose, and we may disagree with people's choices, but there'll be a reason for it.
wow. Yes. You reminded me of something interesting that I heard long ago. That's from a Buddhist monk, I believe, who I interviewed. He talked about how suffering is the door to spiritual evolution. So
Mm.
every time that we try to ease the suffering of somebody, then we are taking that opportunity away from them. So they won't be able to really access their divinity. I mean, that it's so. I'm trying to, kind of make peace with that, and
Yeah.
just let people in the world be what it is, and just do what I came here to do.
Mm.
But sometimes, like, we all kind of make these compassionate mistakes of trying a bit too hard to question people's choice. And then I think that's what I do with some people in my family. I question them in a
Mm.
kind way. It's very truthful, but it's kind, but it's not well received. So
Yeah.
I've got to stop though.
It's
Telling on
really
myself here.
tough. It's really tough, isn't it? Because I think it's okay to question and to disagree with, and
Yeah.
I think it's okay to question. That's fine.
Right.
Why did you make that choice?
Right.
And but it's a difficult one. It's a constant struggle
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
remembering that it's their choice, and
Mm,
we have to stay in our lane. And I love that what that Buddhist monk said about easing the suffering is we can ease suffering,
yeah.
but and I know that it comes from such a compassionate place with you. It's because you do care and
Right.
you know what,
Right.
and I
Right.
see it too.
Yeah.
We see what's possible for people
Mm,
if these changes are
yes.
made. We see the potential for them, and so it's really hard to watch them
Yes.
doing things that we know are creating more suffering.
Yes.
And I think that is the part of this journey, isn't it? It's a really important
Mm,
part, is to accept that everybody is on their journey and has to make their choices. But what I think I was saying when we had these technical issues was that really when I've allowed myself to go, I'm not going to hold my journey back. I'm going
yeah.
to do everything that I can to keep evolving, to keep learning and growing. And if other people choose to come on the journey and do that for themselves, and that's brilliant. That's
Mm,
really their choice. But I'm not going to
mm,
hold myself back because they are not choosing that. And then, interestingly enough, that's when the shift happens. When I let go of what I want for them and
yeah.
what I think should happen,
Yeah.
suddenly they
Uh,
choose to walk through the door.
wow. Yes. So it goes back to what we talked before about universal divine love and self-love. So it always goes back to us, right? Doing our own work and being
Mm.
responsible for what is here.
Yes.
Wow. And you see that sometimes in society it's seen as what do you call egoic, or you being selfish when you not helping the other, you just helping yourself. And maybe that's why for
Mm.
empath and highly sensitive people like you and me, it's
Yes.
so tough, right? Because like, wait a minute, I'm not being selfish. It's quite the opposite. But yeah, what a big.
It's a really hard one. I spent a lot of my life feeling like I was selfish. And I think I don't have an exact answer there, because sometimes we do have to help other people, don't we? And we have
Yes,
to,
right, right.
and yet it's really, really important that if we help ourselves, and it has to be self first. And
Yeah.
then from there we can make change. We have to fill this cup first.
Gosh, yeah. And I have to say, maybe that's why there are a lot of beautiful people like you out there guiding so many other souls, to this truth that you need to help yourself first. And I think especially women, because we do have the tendency of being caregivers and just give it all and not have anything left for ourselves. We are
Yes.
so good at it, right? We have been almost like trained, programmed to behave in that way.
Absolutely. And empaths too, whether you are male or female, I think that's a real problem of empaths is
Yeah.
that we do that. We don't focus on ourselves because we feel the emotions of other people and we
Yes.
feel their pain and we don't want them to hurt. And so therefore we want to help.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a beautiful thing, but like everything in life, it's a balance, right? So we need to, it's wisdom, really, isn't it, Tenzin? It's knowing when, it's almost like not just knowing, but also trusting that we are equipped with what we need to evolve, right? To awaken and to do what we are here to do. So in a way, it is kind of, being um, um, kind of letting go of the also the belief that um, we are here to change the world, that we are here to change others because we are so good, we're so loving. I mean, that has been my belief system for so long. I cannot even remember when it started. So
Mm.
now the journey in ways like trusting the universe, God, divine intelligence to do its work. And it doesn't have it can do it through me, but it won't be a difficult work in that case. Now I know how it feels, that it's not as difficult and challenging when the universe is doing it through me.
Mm.
When the mind or the separated self or the wounded self is trying so hard to make the world a better place or my house a better place, that's when I know, wait a minute, I'm just suffering, in the process. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That means, I mean, I don't know if that resonates with you, but
It totally
yes.
does. It does. It's been a journey of that for me as well because I feel like a lot of people in this healing space,
Yes.
we have to face off with the Messiah complex of, yeah, we're here to change the world. We're here to save the
Yes.
world. We're
Yes.
superheroes. And yeah, it's really hard to drop that.
Mm,
But you're right. Like we can make our homes beautiful, safe sanctuaries. We can change the world in our homes. And if we can change every life that we can change just by encountering it, beautiful. Uh,
yes.
and how do we reconcile those two things of having that impact on people
Yeah.
and not feeling like we have to save the world, that we're
Mm,
really here, that there is no Messiah, that there except we are our own. We are
mm,
here to be our own saviors, our own
yeah.
rescuers, and everyone has to rescue themselves.
Right. God. That's it. And that would change the world if everyone does that, right?
Yes,
All
there's a
of us got to save
beautiful, yeah.
ourselves.
There's
Then
a
we'll
beautiful
save the
Hopi
world.
prophecy about this. And
Yeah.
one of the things that it says, it's about this time that we are in the hour. It's no longer the 11th hour, it is the hour. And
Mm,
really, that no one is coming to save us, that we
mm,
are our own saviors. And
huh,
I
huh.
just love it. I think it's so beautiful. We are the ones, it says, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
That's it. God, it's a beautiful way of ending our conversation today, which I don't want to end. I could
I
stay
could
with
keep
you
talking
forever.
forever.
Wow, I love that, Tenzin. I mean, that's just that's it. That's the one of the most powerful messages we in understanding that we can come across. It's really that we are the ones. And what came to me just recently was only your heart can save you, which is the same thing. So it's like the
Mhm.
love in you can save you, no
Beautiful.
one else, nothing else. Yes, I want to mention your website. So inspirited.co, that will be clickable on the podcast notes, and you also on Instagram, live life inspirited. That will be there too, the link. And you offer one-on-one coaching, Elevate 6 month coaching package, Transform 1 year coaching package as well, and Power Packed a VIP day. I love that. Is that when did I cover everything, and or did I
You
miss anything?
did.
What about the shamanic ceremonies? Do they include those packages include shamanic ceremonies too, or
If people
readings?
want to, then absolutely. It really depends what people want. Yeah, I've worked with clients in that way. Like we've done ceremonies to clear money blocks with couples. It's amazing. That's really fun if people want to go that way. I love bringing shamanic ritual into the work because it's so beautiful when you're navigating big change in your life. That's what it's really good for these real transition moments. When you have some big pattern or fear that you want to really shift quickly and transform, that's when I like to work with shamanic ceremony.
God, that's wonderful to know. Wonderful for everyone to hear that. Because sometimes it can be, especially now at this time, it can be difficult, challenging for some of us. So, God, yeah, it's almost like an invitation for myself too. Thank you
Yes.
so much again,
Thank
Tenzin,
you.
for your beautiful presence in this reality that we live in, shared reality, and for everything that you've been letting flow through you, this sacred wisdom, this timeless message that we all want to hear. I know that maybe not all of us are ready, but it is this echo, this song that I never get tired to hear. So thank you for being this beautiful bird
Thank
today.
you so much. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's been an absolute pleasure to connect with you, and thank you for your work.